Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the farm that I'm calling the Four Elms Farm. I can show you in this menu why I call it the Four Elms Farm because we are on the farmstead map, and this is my through the years save. So I know it's been like months since I posted. I apologize for that, but this property that we own, we come in on this road. This is the road that goes back into town. But we have this elm tree here, and then down along here we have an elm tree here, and up on this corner we have an elm tree there. And I was very much not straight. Look how bad that line is. But we have another elm tree here. So those are our four elms that demarcate our land. Since the last time I played, I did do a fair bit of expansion. So I just recently put in this sorghum field. Our primary way of making money has been these sheep. The pen is full, so we cut the grass that we have here, and they produce wool. I just sold it in April, which is why we have 20 grand right now. Excuse me. I purchased this root crop storage, and we have about 16,000 beetroots, sugar beets. They are our feed for these little guys. These are our feeder pigs, basically. They are little pigs that are going to hopefully grow into nice big meaty hogs that we can sell for profit. Now, if you're familiar with the mechanic in the game, the sheep just eat grass, so that's pretty easy for us to keep up with that. And look at all these sheep we have. But then the pigs are multiplying like crazy. I only bought like 6, and they've multiplied quickly. But with their food, I've only been giving them root crop, which is only a 5% effectiveness for them. So that is why I brought you all back. So we have sorghum, which will satisfy, I believe, their grain need. And then back here I planted some corn. And I know these plot sizes probably seem like, what the heck, why not do bigger plots? You've got all this land, and the main reason for it, sorry, I'm trying to get to the map. The main reason for it is because we're using this super small equipment because we're still in we're still in 1955. So we've got this John Deere A, the McCormick that you saw earlier, and then the tractor that's over here with the planter is the tractor I've been using for almost all of our work. It's a Farmall Super M, and I recognize that this looks all sorts of janky, having this green front loader and this white bucket, but sometimes you got to slap together the best that you can. So I put this on soybean because once we get our corn, that's the base food, and we have sorghum for the grain, the protein will be soybean. So we are going to have a nice balanced pig food diet once we get this done. And if you look, soybeans, we could do any of these 4 months, but I'd like to get them planted now because then we can harvest them in October. The sooner you plant, the sooner you can harvest. So what I'm going to do is probably just do another field back here. Part of what I wanted to look at with you all is, if I hit this X here, it's going to show my field. Like I tucked that one all the way up against the edge. This field here with the sorghum in it, it goes to show you like we could really expand that. We could make that 3 or 4 times wider than it actually is right now. So I think what I'm going to try to do is like this area here is going to become our farmyard. And I think I'm going to do another field back here. I don't know how wide I'll make it, but I want to put in another field there. Now, if you're wondering about these, I don't plan on planting anything in these woods. We own the woods, but we don't need that. Down here in this 61, though, real quick before I start plowing, let me see if I can, sorry. Those modern tractors came with the map, and I didn't fix that yet. You know what? While I'm here, I'll just go ahead and mow another swath because we're gonna need to feed the sheep anyways. But I want to show you down here what I'm gonna call the lower field. We don't have anything, we don't have an actual field cut into it yet, but I'd like to. But I'll show you, it's a little bit complicated, and I don't know that our current equipment will work with it. And the sheep won't starve while we do some of this. So if you look down here, like this is kind of the existing edge of this piece of land, but we own all this down here. This is us. And you see how it's kind of a rolling hill. This will be hard to work with our low horsepower tractors, but even this part here, we could get a nice square field down here. I don't know quite what I want to put in it, but let's see. Is that, yeah, that's easily in the middle of our property. So this cell point here, right over there. So we have tons of space here. We could keep coming up this hill too if we wanted. So when we get to bigger horsepower tractors and wider implements, I think this is going to be really nice to put a decent field down here. So I know some of you are probably like, bro, why did you make this video just to talk about what you haven't done yet? But oddly enough, it might not look like it, but this is, I've played I think 3 years since my last recording, and it is slow going with these old tractors. It is slow going. I invested a lot of money into, it was a little bit into the root crop storage because I knew I could do sugar beets, and it's like it's not 2 feet, it's 2 meters, so it's a 6 foot wide planter. That does not go quickly. This is a pretty decent setup here. It goes 10 miles an hour with this old McCormick. And this tractor can't plow with our plow. And it can't plant, I don't think, with our planter because it doesn't have a 3-point hitch. So it pretty much just lives on this mower. So that's been fine. But again, it's an example of, yeah, it's an old W4. It's an example of how, the reason I wanted to do this playthrough is because it's fun to use this type of equipment. It's just slow going, which is why I'm not losing sleep over how long it's taking. I just wanted to explain that to you guys. Also, if you look up here, I have, this was our beet patch, and I'm pretty sure we got almost 20,000 beets off of this patch. This big, that long, this big. So if we do a full field, that'll be crazy. But remember, it's going to be this little 6 meter. Maybe that's not even 6 meter. Maybe that's 3 meter. Let's look. I'm curious now that I said it. This is, yeah, 2 meters. 2 meters. Not even 3 meters. 2 meters. That is not enough meters, you might say. If you're wondering why I'm running around with all this seed in my bucket, I don't think I can do the unload function, so I'm just gonna keep it in there and plant it. So I'm assuming that we're gonna end up having this dirt continue. That'll be the primary, or some type of mud or gravel will be our yard. So I think probably, so not this tippy end of the field, but somewhere like here. But I want to do it straight out from the sorghum field. So kind of like here. Somewhere like here. We can use that orange flower as our reference point. Yeah, right. And we'll plow down to the edge of our property, basically. So we'll start here, lower the plow, allow create field, and try to go straight. Which sounds simple enough. That was a comment I got on a video like 3 years ago. Somebody said that I can't drive straight, which is potentially true. I mean, look at this. My tractor's clearly pulling left. But one thing I will say in my defense, you can probably hear the keys clicking because I play on mouse and keyboard. So maybe I would be able to drive straighter if I had a wheel. I don't know. But I'm having to correct. You can see the nose of my tractor, right? See it? It's turning. Like, I want to go to that bush that's right over my head. I'm not turning left. It's just pulling because it's plowed. It's not actually enough horsepower for this job, so it's pulling my tractor. Oh geez, am I going crooked? Look how bad that is. Oh, that's awful. We're at that elm. The other one is crooked, so I don't know. We can look on the map here. So, geez, look how terrible that line is. So we wanted to go here, and we went like that. So what I need to do now is come over to like here probably, and then aim for the start of our field. Just try to keep it steady. And I think that we'll widen the cornfield next time we plant. And I don't know if we'll end up getting any other types of animals, or, you know, who knows. There's always lots to do. But I've done cows a lot on this game. And I kind of, usually the first playthrough, well, the second. So the first playthrough I do on the new game when it comes out is just I play the base game map. So I did that on Elm Creek on this game years ago. But then my first like custom playthrough was an old Case IH dairy farm that I did. And so after you make, hundreds of bales and thousands of liters of silage, you kind of get to a point where you're like, all right, I'm done with that. I want to do something else. And even though the sheep farming is still grass work, I don't know. I like that the sheep have a more, I don't want to say instant payoff because the cows give you milk. But I've enjoyed, no, I've enjoyed getting to work with the sheep. So if you're wondering why I'm driving so terribly here, it's because, like I said, this tractor doesn't have enough horsepower for this plow, and it's pulling me. And if you're wondering why I don't use another plow, the main reason is because I have a cultivator, but I don't think I have another plow. I might have a smaller one up at the store. And honestly, I would probably be more effective with a smaller plow that I could use accurately rather than this big one that's making me go crooked and inaccurately. It's not a race. It's a relaxing and calm and peaceful game, so we don't need to rush to get the job done. I am a little bit curious about how it said up here at the start that I was not on my property. Maybe it was just like the back end of the plow wasn't. I hate this. It's so hard to back this plow up. Okay, that wasn't as painful as I expected it to be. So I'm guessing it's going to stop me here, like right there. Or at least that's where I'm going to stop. Eventually I'll get a chisel plow or something which is square, and that'll be easier to round out my field dimensions. But for this one, so it's supposed to snap, right? It's supposed to snap at some point. And then once it snaps straight, then all you need to do is put this back left tire along the edge of where you want to go. See, I missed that bit. Alright, I guess not the outside tire. I want this trailing tire to go right. Oh, jeez. Worse, not better. We want the trailing tire to go right on the border. I keep losing control because I'm losing traction. It's pulling harder. Boy, it does not want to do that. Look at it spin. That's crazy. This is flat too, so you can see why I don't want to go down over the hill there and try to farm, because I can't even plow this flat area easily. Alright, and then that's pretty good. We'll pick it up here. So if I wasn't such an idiot and go off the wild path there, you could see how this would just be 5 or 6 more passes and then we'd be good to go. But because I went crooked, now we're having to redo this. I'm trying to see if I can show you the way the plow clicks in. So see, it's hinging right now because I'm turning. And then you get to a certain point and it won't turn like that, it gets locked into place. And that's what I needed to do. Okay. Down we go. I'm going to miss a bit right here, huh? Oh no, it covered it. Good. So these teeny tiny little bits that we miss is not the end of the world. We can try to catch those another time. But see, as soon as I hit that other furrow, my tractor, I mean, it's like listing. It actually turns down into the plowed part, and I lose control and I lose traction and I lose my line, like all at once. I'm going to switch perspective here and see if that helps you guys see. See how the front wheels are coming off the ground? That's terrible. Pretty decent chunk there that I missed, but it'll be easier to go back and fix it once it's all plowed. Stuff like this is why I didn't understand why people were so excited for FS25 to have like ground alteration, because I'm like, this is hard enough. But that's because I tend to use these older tractors a lot more that don't have enough horsepower to do the jobs that I'm trying to do with them. You want to struggle, use old-timey equipment. But these people who are like, I'm driving a 500 horsepower, 6,000 pound tractor, and it all feels the same. Well, whose fault is that? Did you pick that equipment? But they added it to the game. I don't know if you guys are if you're watching this, I don't know if you're playing 25 or if I would imagine a lot of people who are playing 25 have just completely moved on to 25 content too, so probably not watching this. I don't know if anybody will watch this, to be honest, but I like this farm, and for me I think it's going to be my last hurrah. I think when I get done with this playthrough, I don't know if I'll play to the modern day. I'll probably play at least into the 90s, because there's a bunch of mods for 90s that are reminiscent of how I grew up. So I'll probably do at least that, which at the rate, you see how long it's taken me to plow this, and I already did those other two fields, which were easily 45 minutes to an hour each. So if it takes me 5 hours to do every year, even with simulating several months, only feeding the animals and simulating, it's going to be 50 hours until I get done with this playthrough. And I don't say that as a negative. I mean, I enjoy it, but I'm making the most of these mods because a lot of this stuff hasn't been ported over to 25 yet, and it may never be. I think I saw that somebody did put an M on there. I think a 1206, which I will get to when we chronologically get there on this save. And I think the John Deere A is in the new game, probably the McCormick Deering. So in some ways I'm contradicting myself, because I think the three tractors I'm using right now are in the new game. But I've got a whole bunch of mods I plan on utilizing in this save as we make it through the years. Like, hopefully by the time we get to the 90s, we have enough money that we can buy things as soon as they become available, and then it'll just be a toy box at that point. It won't have this survival struggle element to it anymore. It'll just be, oh, I got access to that thing, let's buy it and use it. And I'm contemplating just keeping everything, like not selling any of the equipment. And just once it's retired because it doesn't make sense to use it anymore, I just park it in the shed. I'm gonna finish the area between the front building that I showed you guys and where the sheep get fed, and I think I'm gonna make that all farmyard. And I'll put gravel or whatever down, but then I'm also going to build some storage buildings because we don't have nearly enough storage for our equipment, and it does snow on this map. So I don't know how much that the damage from snow is simulated, but I would really like to be able to protect my equipment. So I'm looking forward to getting that done. Alright, we're almost getting squared up here. We're gonna have to go through and get those little bits, but I think, there's no law that says that fields have to be square. I could make them all wonky. It makes sense. I'd like them to be moderately square, if that's a thing. I also wanted to do a little bit of planting before I ended this episode for you guys, but I also know when I do the really long ones, like if I go for over an hour or something, the watch time is like minuscule. People don't even click on it. So I'll try to split the difference and reward those of you who stuck around, but also recognize I probably won't finish the planting also. Just get started with it. Alright, here's the question. Should I do another pass down the outside, or should I go fix the stuff that I missed? I think I'll just fix the stuff I missed, and then we'll plant this little patch with soybean. And if you're wondering, we do not have a combine yet. That's what the 20 grand is for. And I will probably do another video when we get to the harvest, so you guys can watch my new 1954 combine. But if we come up a few thousand short, what I've decided is I'll just chop down a couple trees down in our forest and be able to afford it. So let's take a look from the sky here. Of course it saves right when I want to look at the map. So it looks like if I do one more pass, we'll be about the same width as the sorghum field. And these are kind of silly little strips, but when you're operating this small machinery, it feels like a good bit of work. So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will be our 8th pass. And it's not straight. It's going to be a little difficult like it was coming down, but once we get down the other end, I'll swap over and plant some of our soybeans. Come on, bro. Look at those back tires just spinning. They just are not getting enough traction. There we go. That's what we need. We need the tractor to keep all 4 wheels on the ground. We need the wheels on the plow in the furrow. Keep it nice and level, just like that. It's about as good as it's looked the whole time I've been doing this. Also, I've tried really hard to match things to the chronology, but it's possible that this plow is a little bit newer than the time period that we're at, but it's really hard to find applicable equipment. And now that I'm thinking about this, it makes me want to look at our plows. Yeah, that's the only one I have. In terms of what's available, so this John Deere chisel plow, like, I have access to it in the game, but I googled it and it's much newer than we're at right now. I forget the exact date, and I don't have my note right here, but maybe I do. No, I have a bunch of tractors and rakes and stuff, but I don't have the date for that. But I think it's newer, so that's why we're doing it this way. So we will switch over to seeder. And this little seeder has put in some serious work. You can see it's already halfway. Its durability is half because I've used it so much. So we will lower it down and turn it on. There we go. Nice 2 meters at a time. So like when I put that little beat patch in, I was like, I don't know, this is not going to be that many beats. And then it ended up being almost 20,000. So I don't know what we'll get yield-wise out of these fields, but even if they're 5,000-6,000 liters, that will keep our pigs fed for a while, and then the pigs can help fund better equipment as we get later into the time period. I don't want to do too many years with this small equipment. I mean, it's fun to do for a season or two, but I don't want to be doing this for a decade. So if we're having problems, I may have a season or two that I just don't plant. If we have enough stuff in the storage. The other thing, I mean, the sort of joke about all of this is I'm planting these crops to feed the pigs, but I could just as easily sell the wool and buy pig food, right? Like that's a way to play the game. I'm not doing that, but if I get to a point where I'm just exhausted using this old small equipment, I'll just keep cutting grass, feeding the sheep, and use the wool money to buy pig food and just sustain it that way for a season or two. And then when we get bigger, cool equipment, then I'll switch to that. But for right now, I mean, this is neat, isn't it? I think this is neat, using this old girl. She's bouncy. It's not mindless. I have to stay consistently engaged. I don't set GPS and let the tractor drive itself. Like, I don't really get the appeal of the way some people do things, but I don't police the way other people play the game. It's fine. They're allowed to do that. I get more of a charge out of playing it like this. But I think that's a pretty good look. I think you guys have gotten a chance to see what we're doing here. And if you're still interested in the series, leave me a comment so I know. Otherwise, it might just make sense to keep it off recording. But wanted to show you around, show you the developments I've made, and hope you guys enjoy. Thanks so much for watching. This is Bluebelly on the Bluebelly Farms channel. Bye for now.